All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's Capital One live webinar on strategies and tips for nominating for athletic and academic awards. Thanks for joining us today for this session. NAIA-SIDA members, welcome. We're going to discuss the how-tos and best practices for nominating for CSC Academic All-District and All-America Awards, Daktronics NAIA Scholar-Athlete Honors, and Player of the Week. My name is Alicia Alexander, and I'm the SID at Lewis Clark State College in Lewiston, Idaho, and I'm also an at-large rep for the NAIA-SIDA board, and I'll be serving as this webinar moderator. Before we get started and introduce our panelists, we're going to say a quick thank you to corporate partner Capital One, the presenting sponsor for CSC Professional Development and Continuing Education Series. Your questions are welcome at any time. Just put them in the Attendee Hub section. You can ask anonymously if that's what you want to do. And we've got a lot to cover, so we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, thanks everybody for joining us today, including our panelists. We've got Tommy Chazanoff, who's the Assistant AD and Sports Information Director at the University of the Cumberlands and the second VP of NAIA-SIDA. We've also got Dale Long, who's the Director of Sports Information at Georgia Gwinnett College and the Continental Athletic Conference. He's also a member of the CSC Academic All-America Core Committee. We're going to be covering 3 different topics during this. That includes the Daktronics NAIA Scholar-Athletes, the Conference Player of the Week nominations, and CSC Academic All-District and All-America. We'll stop in between each segment for questions, so go ahead and put those in the hub and we'll address them while we're on that topic. So the first one we're going to hit is the Daktronics NAIA Scholar-Athletes. This year, the NAIA has changed the process back to where we're nominating at the end of every season. So the fall nominations are due on Friday. So Tommy, go ahead and get us started with that.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. So when we're nominating for the Daktronics NAIA Scholar-Athletes, the big thing to know is you're going to want to go to your naiasport.org/admin and go ahead and sign in here to your account. Once you do that, we'll show you where the form is located. So similar to where you nominate for you fill out your preseason questionnaire, the Scholar-Athlete form is located here on the right-hand side, on the top right-hand side. And you can see we've already filled it out for this year, but to add a new nominee, you just come down to the bottom here, add new nominee. You're required to have the first, last name, the sport, the hometown, the GPA as defined by your institution. If the athlete has transferred at any point during their time, you need to put it in, and then the first semester, first day of attendance, whether it is January of whatever year or August of whatever year, whatever that is, you want to put that in there. So it could be as early as August 2020. The academic class standing is sophomore or higher. That's one of the big changes to this program this year, that sophomores are now eligible for this. Then you're going to want to do the major, the minor, and then fill out this information as well. If you're the one submitting it, then like for me, I would put my name there, and then it would be my title of Sports Information Director, my email, and then the person who is our faculty athletic representative. Alicia mentioned it earlier that the big thing is that these deadlines have been moved back to the individual season. So Friday, September 30th is the deadline for football, volleyball, both soccer, both cross country. When you move into the winter, you're looking at January 15th deadline for your winter sports, including wrestling, swimming, basketball, and other sports like that. Cheer and dance would also be January 15th. And then April 1st is the spring deadline for baseball, softball, lacrosse, track and field, anything like that. Just remember for track and field that indoor and outdoor are combined for track and field, and they are only one option for that. Just trying to see if I can. Right now it's only open, it looks like to winter and to fall and winter sports. So track and field, there's only one option, and that will come out in the springtime. And golf and tennis will also go in that springtime, even though those sports play all year round. The announcement is moving from the September 15th to following each respective sports national championship game. So it could be volleyball, probably 1 or 2 days after the championship game. For the volleyball match, the NAIA will announce the scholar athletes for the sport of volleyball. This in turn gives our SIDs a chance to really publicize it a lot more. You can focus on those individual student athletes instead of having a long list for the entirety of the year.
All right, Tommy, we've got a couple questions. First, we'll go with what transfers are eligible for Daktronics NAIA Scholar-Athletes?
Absolutely. Any transfer who has been enrolled in your institution for a year, whether it's 2 semesters, 3 trimesters, or quarters, if you're on the quarter system, they have to be enrolled for an entire year before they're eligible. So if you had a transfer who came in August, they would not be eligible this year. If you had a transfer who came in January, they would also not be eligible for this fall. If you had a transfer that came in January of this year and they're in the winter or spring, they would be eligible, but it's really important that they've been enrolled in your institution for over a year in order for them to be eligible. And that counts for grad transfers as well. So if it's a grad transfer coming in, they will not be eligible this year.
All right, and then the next one we have is, how do I go about finding out which student athletes are eligible for academic awards?
That's a great question, and I appreciate that question. I think it's up to how each school does it a little bit differently. For the way we do it here is I actually get every grade report from our coaching staff. I will then pull out the names who are close, who I think should be nominated for it. I will then take that list and go to our registrar and verify every GPA with our registrar, and then take the list from there and go ahead and submit the names that way. I know when I was at a previous school in the NAIA, the registrar was able just to print me and send me a list every semester. So that's how I did it that way. But I think the big thing is start early with them and try to get them out of the way as quickly as possible. For me, I think one of the other big thing is since we're on a semester system, once we start the spring semester, January 1st, January 5th, whatever it is, none of our grades are going to change between then and the end of the spring. So what I will do is in January, when I submit my winter scholar athletes, I'm actually going to submit my spring scholar athletes at the same time, just because none of the GPAs are going to change. And that way I know that it's done rather than waiting till last minute and the end of March when we're busy with crossover season, we forget to do that or someone slips through the cracks. The other thing that I do that I find really beneficial is after I get that list back from the registrar, I will email them to every coach, their respective student athletes. That way they have a chance to look at it to make sure we're not missing somebody. And it's also, if we do miss somebody, that means that it's gone through 3 checks. And it's not just one person overlooking somebody. There's multiple layers of accountability at that point to say, hey, I emailed it to you. You didn't tell me that we were missing somebody or to even look at this person. That's also, I'm not saying put shared blame, but there is some accountability to making sure that the coaches are staying up and making sure that they're aware of who's doing well, who we're nominating, and who we're not nominating.
Thanks for that, Tommy. I think that's super helpful. I know, especially for some of the newer SIDs, this process can be a little intimidating because you can have a pretty big number of student athletes to go through. So that's all super, super helpful. All right, we're going to move on now to another process that's changed in the last couple of years, and that's Player of the Week nominations. Those go through Presto, and we're going to have Dale take us through that process right now.
All right. Thank you, Alicia and Tommy. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I am going to be demonstrating the NAIA Player of the Week process through the NAIA Presto Awards platform, as well as discussing some of the procedures for the College Sports Communicators Academic All-America program in 2022-2023 and best practices for nominating for both contests. First off, the Presto Awards platform pushes automated emails when nominations and voting is open. And this is an example of the login screen after clicking the link in an email. The automatic email also informs you what nominations and ballots are open specifically for you. Depending on how your award is set up, there's a way to also send automatic emails with 24-hour deadlines and 1-hour deadline prior to closing. And you'll only receive those email notifications if you have not completed the task of nominating or voting. It's very helpful. Now is an example of a completed nomination. Besides being the Director of Sports Information here at Georgia Gwinnett College, I'm also the SID of the Continental Athletic Conference. This is how my nominations appear through the NAIA Awards platform. I'll go through that entire process here shortly, but this tells me everything I need to know. It tells me what award I am nominating for. That's the CAC Men's Soccer Offensive Week 5. It contains an area in which the student athlete's portrait photo can be uploaded, his or her statistics for the time frame of the nomination. But also one of the most important things is the supporting information text box is completed with details about the performance. Now I'll go through that process of nominating NAIA Player of the Week step by step. As I will find my award, which will be Men's Soccer Offensive. This is how it looks for me on the back end, being a conference SID as well as a school SID. I'm going to click my nominate on the right side. I'm going to find my name. I have access to a bunch of different nominators and schools as well. But I'm going to find my school in Georgia Gwinnett. I'm going to pick my player. The awards just opened up. We haven't played any competitions yet, but at the end, this is where the stats would appear. And I'm just going to select the player to the left of their name, and then I'm going to add the information. Hometown. I'm going to get his URL. Add that in there. Coach's rank. There's different ways to do this. I mean, for Player of the Week and the process that we have at our conference, only one nominee per award. So you could put like where you are ranked in the coaches poll, but we also use the Presto Awards platform for all conference, and you can have multiple nominations for all conferences broken down by positions. So I believe that the coach's rank should be where the player ranks on your team, whether he's your number 1 forward, so your number 2, number 5, however, whatever award you're nominating, just so I think it gives the voters an idea of where that player, in your opinion, on your team, your coach, whatever, that is how that coach ranks that specific player. And this is where you fill in your supporting material. Confirmed to me, he had a hat trick against number 1 Mobile. First hat trick since 2019. Scored a point in all 8 matches this season. Obviously, the one that was completed had a little bit more depth about when he scored goals, the significance of the goals. But this lets me know that, it was against a top-tier team, standout performance, first hat trick in multiple seasons, and something significant about the season. You could say you're off to the best start, highest ranking, and so forth. Click nominate. Then it goes into the nomination pool. I'll receive an email that the nomination has been completed. That is another positive about the Presto Awards platform, the automatic email that you receive once your nomination has been submitted, as well as once you have cast your ballot, you receive a automatic email about that. If you have not received that automatic email, then you know something is wrong in the system and you need to go back and do it again. It will not be into the back end of the system for that award. So that's about the player of the week. One last thing, some best practices. Complete the supporting information section. Make the case for your student athletes to be considered for this award. Include whether it was a season high, career high, conference or national best stat, and or it broke a school record. As a national player of the week voter or a conference voter, you don't know that it was a season high unless it was stated in the nomination. And so it's very helpful to differentiate between player A and player B. So make the case. These awards are very competitive, and so something that could break the tie on a performance is very important in the supporting information. Work with your coaches and receive input if unsure between a couple of candidates. This allows the coach to have some input, but also it takes it a little bit out of your hands as well. Team dynamic, just let them know that, I don't know which defender. Do I put the goalkeeper or do I put the center back who played really well? Like, let the coaches maybe have some input on player of the week process and who they nominate. I had the prior institutions, different level. I had a coach that says, I want him nominated because I want the coaches to see that he was nominated because it might help his all conference case later in the season. I mean, it's something just like that. And then also get your submissions done early. At the conference level that we do here at the Continental Athletic Conference, the nominations are open noon on Thursday. I open them up noon on Thursday every week, and our pool is open until the nomination period is open until 9 p.m. on Sunday. If you don't have an event from when nominations open to when they close, get it done on Thursday or Friday. Don't wait until Sunday night at 8:30. Who knows what could happen? And then you miss out the opportunity to nominate, and coach may come back and student athlete may come back and say, why was I not nominated, or why didn't I get this award? I missed the deadline. That's not, you just get it done early when you have time to get it done. So that's the way I do it here at the Continental Athletic Conference. They're open, on Thursday at noon, and sometimes we have matches, our last matches on a Wednesday, and so I don't have anything to do, so I'm just gonna get it done before the weekend. So that's player of the week process, best practices. Now I'm going to turn my attention to some new procedures for the academic program.
Just real quickly, I want to just follow up and emphasize something that you said, and two things that you said. One, you guys, SIDs should be looking to the conferences to know what the deadlines are, because you mentioned your deadline, but every conference has their own deadline. So please make sure you're looking towards those conferences to understand the deadline. And the other thing that I think is really important is we don't know whether you played a ranked opponent unless you put it in that description. And that's really to make a difference of whether your player can win or whether your player doesn't win a Player of the Week award, or how people vote. If you're playing and you scored 2 goals against the #1 team in the country, is that more impressive than scoring a hat trick against a team who's 5th or 6th in the conference? Those are the things that really can make a difference and separate your student athletes from other student athletes throughout your conference, and that's going to make, and also for the national award. Dale, I know you said you're a national award voter. That's going to make a difference who you played, and having that information right there. These SIDs don't have the time to look up who you played and where they ranked. They just want to go into it right away.
And then Dale, we had a question that involves Player of the Week, and you showed how to upload the statistical data. But what about the sports like cross country, track and field that don't have that data that automatically uploads?
Yeah, you physically have to enter in that specific data. let me just get, we have cross country. The award platform is open for that. Gonna get back in. So women's cross country runner, nominate. Like myself, even though we do not have cross country, I'm just the admin, put it on everyone. So I can just type in day long, institution. You just have to physically type in all of this information, what the data to meet. The biggest important also thing is to put the link to the results. Whether it can be a box, the results on your own website, the racing company that was hosting the meet. This is where you just type in all the different information for tennis, golf, the non-Presto stat sports. This is how the player of the week process needs to be completed. And then here's the section for additional information. What records did you set a mark in swimming, track and field, so forth. You know, this is where the supporting information would go. So once I would hit nominate, it would go through the process. Another thing to keep in mind that awards that have voting, it's sorted by alphabetical last name. It's not like, oh, I'm going to wait till the very end because it's going to be at the top, or it's going to be, or I get it in first, it's going to be at the top. No, it's ones that are voted, it is sorted by alphabetical last name. So that's where it's that get it done early. It has no impact of where your players, your student athletes are slotted on the ballot. So that is how you would enter in information in the non-Presto Stat Player of the Week platform. So you physically have to enter that information yourself.
Thanks, Dale. Before we jump into the CSC award, we have one question that goes back to scholar athletes. Someone's asking, when will the NAIA website be updated with submission deadlines and other changes for this year? That's something that they're working on. They've had some transition over there at the national office. So just kind of working through the processes of getting the deadlines updated on the webpage. But Tommy mentioned them. You want to mention them one more time, what those deadlines are for scholar athletes?
Absolutely. Just a reminder, the deadline is this Friday, September 30th for all of fall sports. The winter sports are January 15th, and then the spring sports are April 1st. So September 30th, January 15th, April 1st. And like we said, we'll make sure we talk with the national office, and we're going to continue to work with them.
All right, thanks, Tommy. All right, quite a few changes for CSC, Academic All District and All America, Dale. So go ahead and let's dive into this
new procedures for the Academic All America program in 2022-2023. The biggest one is all district voting for academic all has been, All America contest has been eliminated. All district awards will be granted to all nominations. Over the last couple of years, the all district certificates was not being mailed out by CSC to the school. It was up to the school to print, as many certificates as they wanted for that particular award. Also, by awarding all district honors to all nominees, it allows the opportunity for each school to publicize and promote their recipients and produce more publicity for the program as a whole. I mean, it is up to the individual school on how you want to handle this, but it is now, all district for a nomination that's successful, that's on the national ballot. That person is going to be an all district award winner, and you can promote that. And it may be your first one in 15 years. And that's a great achievement. So it allows for more publicity from the schools. Also, the moving to a national ballot at the All America level, it allows for later deadlines to allow more competitions and season stats to be accumulated. Just for example, in the fall, you can pretty much the deadline for at the NAI level for soccer's is right before the conference tournaments. Football, it is pretty much right around playoff time. So, before it almost in years past, in a week or two, we'd be starting the all district nomination period. I mean, we get second half of the seasons now with some statistical data to include in the nominations. Next, the minimum GPA was raised from 3.3 to 3.5. This was a result of several conferences having that academic barometer threshold for their academic all-conference awards. And the Academic All-America, program still wanted the achievement of this award to be beneficial to the student athletes and the institutions. One talking point that I have that I make when I discuss it with student athletes, coaches, and school administrators is that the Academic All-America program is excellence both academically and athletically, and it's selected by a nationwide panel of athletic communicators. Due to the recent nominating trends, there are 4 new contests in men's swimming, men's swimming and diving, women's swimming and diving, men's tennis, and women's tennis. Swimming and diving and the amount of all conference and all America honors one student athlete can achieve throughout their career is very similar to the amount that a track and field student athlete can achieve as well. And there already is a separate contest for track and field along with cross country. So the committee felt that it needed to be its own contest. Before, track and field, swimming and diving was under the at-large umbrella. Then just the number of nominations for men's and women's tennis over the last 3 to 5 years warranted it also to break away from the at-large category and be its own contest. And lastly, there's a maximum number of nominations per school for each contest. And here is the nominations for each sport that a school is allowed. There are still positions within the ballots for soccer, football, baseball, and softball. So this is the total number of nominations that a school is allowed instead of the number of nominations in that particular position. You do not get 6 forwards, 6 goalkeepers, 8 offensive linemen. It is 8 total nominations for your school in the sports that have positions. The basic thought for this is that the number is basically one more than half of the competitors on the field. I know you can have 22, football, 11 on each side, but generally across the board in all these nominations, it's one more than half of the competitors on the field during that competition. But the 2 new contests are men's and women's swimming and diving, which will have 2 teams of 10 swimming and diving competitors for each team in the NAIA division. Meanwhile, men's and women's tennis will also have 2 teams of 6 tennis competitors for each team at the NAIA division. The timeline for the entire schedule has been announced, and notice that the first contest will be men's and women's soccer, with nominations opening on Tuesday, November 1st, with the deadline of the November 8th. So that's right before the conference tournaments at a majority throughout the nation. Football that deadline is November 15th. That's right around when the playoff brackets are announced. So you get pretty much the entire regular season. And this allows with the all district level, it allows, a quarterback, it allows for more season stats, and it should be able to break away from, however many nominations we have for a particular position or a particular sport. It allows for the stats and the accomplishments athletically to break away and allow them to be selected from a nationwide panel. Some facts and figures about nominations. The number of teams awarded each year is based on a rolling average of the previous 3 to 5 years of nomination data. So in result, honoring more student athletes means increasing the number of nominations consistently by division could result in additional teams in each contest over the next 3 to 5 years. Right now, the NAIA has 2 teams. So if we get our nominations up, we can have a 3rd team of Academic All-America teams. And then I close this presentation by informing you how you can get involved in the Academic All-America Committee. I'm a national coordinator after being a district coordinator for many years. Overall, there is not a lot of NAIA representation on the Academic All-America Core Committee. And whether it be, on the publicity team, there are different ways to get involved. Publicity team, creating graphics, doing videos with the Academic All-America Team Member of the Year, which is the highest vote getter for each division. You can get involved in that. Help write the stories for the publicity team. You can be a national coordinator or what was the district coordinators, but these are going to be people that are going to be reviewing those particular ballots once the nomination is over. There's ways to get involved in the largest committee within college sports communicators. My email is listed on this screen, along with the chair of this committee, Kevin Lanke. Reach out to us if this is a committee that you would like to get involved in. The Academic All-America program is the crowning award that college sports communicators has and will continue to present. It is a great achievement to have an Academic All-American, even an Academic All-District selection. That's closes my part of the presentation up.
All right, we'll have a couple of questions, but just want to remind everybody, for Academic All-District All-America, you have to be a member of CSC to nominate and to vote. The deadline for regular membership rates is this Friday, the 30th. These go up October 1st. So make sure if you haven't renewed your membership yet, you get on that so you can nominate and vote for Academic All-District, Academic All-America. All right, a couple of questions we have. Why the change to the Academic All-America program, Gail?
Academic All-America program changed this summer. It was approved by the board as well. Higher GPAs by, like I said, some conferences had that for their academic all conference. So we felt like it was also a time to maybe raise the GPA to that threshold as well. And we also, just to allow some more statistical data to be used at the national ballot. And this allows more schools the publicity of the program to reach a wider audience, and the timing of our announcements for when an All-America teams for, let's just say football, it is the week of the first bowl games. Basketball, it is, and we look at the entire Division I all the way down to the college division. Basketball, it is announced the week of March Madness. I mean, there's a great time for some PR, put in game notes, to get on national coverage of this program. I have an Academic All-American, Justin Herbert, Oregon quarterback, two-time Academic All-America Team Member of the Year, played in the Rose Bowl, and it was mentioned on the Rose Bowl on January 1st. I mean, on national TV that he was, an Academic All-America. That's just great for the program.
Yep, I know it's a lot of fun when we've had a couple while I've been here, and it's really fun to see how excited they get to, because when you explain how big this award is and how important it is. Next question is, what's the difference between Academic All-America and Scholar Athletes from Coaches Associations?
I would say that the biggest difference, we're going kind of more of what the Academic All Conference, 3.5, but this has to be, this takes your athletic accomplishments into it as well. You need to play in over half the games. You're either a key starter or a key contributor. That meets the academic GPA, but it also, you have to meet the athletic part as well. Some of the coaches associations, if you played in one game, and meet the GPA requirement, you're automatically on the list. This is also voted on by your national peers in college sports communicators. So it's a vote as well. It's just not completing the nomination and you're automatically on the list, as some of those coaches associations are. So that is one of the biggest differences.
All right, and then I'll pull a question that we asked Tommy for his transfer students. How are they eligible? What's that like? It's
different. Transfers, you need to be if you are a transfer from a program that has, let's just say, discontinued, or a school that has shut down, and a grad transfer, you're automatically eligible. Grad transfers are automatically eligible. And if you're at a program that shut down, did not discontinue their tennis program, soccer program, or a school that shut down and you transfer somewhere else, you're automatically eligible. Transfers are also eligible if they have been at your school for 12 months. So they could have been at your school when they were freshmen, sophomores, sophomore year, transferred away, came back. They've obviously spent 12 months at your school. So they would be eligible.
All right, thank you, Dale. All right, that wraps up the questions we have. So we'd like to huge thank you to presenters Dale and Tommy today for the discussion and their insights and giving us the most effective ways to nominate student athletes for these various awards. We encourage you guys to check out the website collegesportscommunicators.com for updated information on what's coming up for continuing education throughout the academic year. Be on the lookout for more webinars and continuing education videos coming your way next month. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today.